Hi guys, back with another video. Here's that Polaris 650 jet ski carburetor set. There's three of them. The reason the paint's chipped off is because I had to soak them in gas because there's a lot of mold and corrosion and stuff like that. So I'm going to finish cleaning them up before I reinstall them. But this video is going to be on a carburetor rebuild. It's a little bit more complicated than a Banshee or something like that in the ATV world, because the jet ski needs to be running in more than one direction. It can be tilted to the side a lot more than a Banshee can, or any ATV for that matter, and it still needs to be able to run because it goes in water, not on dirt. So first things first, I'll explain what's going on the outside. This right here is your choke. Hooks to your choke lever, and then it still allows some airflow right there at that square part, even when the choke's fully engaged, obviously, because it needs to start. And then this other one is going to be your throttle, which you can see from this end. This was all extremely dirty and I had to clean it up. This was all painted blue too, and I had to scrape all that off and soak it and scrub it off with a gentle wire brush. So I already cleaned this carb just to have a better idea what's going on the inside, but I'm going to take this one apart now and show you guys what's going on. It's got a nifty little tab here on the bottom, so after you get the screws off, it's a lot easier to get that plate out. So it is a 3 Phillips or standard. They're crosshatched, so you can use either one. So I'm going to pop those off, show you what's underneath. Got a clean shop towel there, just set the bolts down there, and then there's the cover. Just pull on that little tab and it pops right off. Nothing underneath, just a hole to let the air flow through. I'll set that down over here. And then there's the diaphragm. You've got a silver disc on this. So you take that diaphragm off. It's flat on that side, and then it has that disc on that side with a little part that sticks out there. Set that to the side, and there's what the carb looks like. It's got some gunk and build up there in the bottom. And then there's only a few parts here. There's a spring underneath this, which bounces that back. There's the fuel shutoff, which is on there with a little rubber grommet on the end. That shuts off the fuel. The way this works is it basically, every time it sucks fuel and it pulls on that diaphragm to open that valve to let a little bit more fuel in. So that's just spring loaded, and then there's a screw there, which these are very difficult to get off. Put the Phillips in there and then give it a couple smacks with a hammer to loosen up the threads and then remove it. There's one screw there, and one screw there. This one takes off that lever, and then these two will take off this piece. Then there's a one-way valve on the other side of that hole, which is where the fuel gets sucked into. And then you have your main jet and your idle jet underneath there. So I removed that screw right there. Then there's just this pin that goes through that, and then the lever with that shut off on the end. Now there's just that spring in the hole there in the middle. I'm going to pull that out and then take the two screws off to take that other part off with the one-way valve. Here's that piece removed. It goes right there. Might be hard to see on the camera, but there's actually a little white plastic, see-through plastic piece right there covering that hole that's held on by that screw. So it's just a little one-way valve that keeps the fuel flowing into the carb instead of out of it back into the reserve right there. So take that off, set that to the side, and then there's this gasket underneath here that goes all the way around. And then I believe that one's your main jet, and then that one's your idle jet. You can just use a tie from a bag of bread or something like that, something smaller, or a needle, and poke it through the center of those holes right there and right there. Or use compressed air or carb cleaner as well. I don't like to get carb cleaner on the gaskets because depending on who made the gasket, sometimes the carb cleaner will actually make the gasket swell. So if you're going to hose it down with carb cleaner, then I'd recommend taking the gasket out first. And then if you have a leaky or a rich condition, there's a possibility that there's debris in there. You can use a Q-tip or something like that to clean that out.